Hey, what's up? If you rewatch this video later, let's say in the summer, and this will be really awkward, but right now it's winter holidays and New Year will be like in a few days. So I'm really happy to see you this night. Yeah, I hope it's night or evening. I hope you don't watch ASMR during the day because there's a risk of you falling asleep right where you are at your office, or wherever you are. So yeah, today I wanted to share a really inspiring and special story with you, and this will be a base story. Before I begin my story, I suggest we have a little nice cup of hot tea. This one is for you, and I have another one for myself. It exists, you just can't see it, but you have to believe me because I'm on the internet. Alright, and I believe it's called golden something. Golden spirals, maybe, or golden tips, whatever. And it has a really unique flavor and taste. It's like it has this rich, honey, flowery flavor, not like some synthetic smell of flowers in the car freshener, air freshener in your car, but like really, I believe it has golden tips. There's some parts of the tea plant that are covered in that golden pollen that gives it this really nice honey taste, like you're a little bee sipping from the flower, some, I don't know, nectar or shit. So yeah, and it also has some hint of smoke in its taste. I don't know why, and honestly, I don't care. This is so delicious and refreshing. So it's good for a cold winter night. So this one is for you. I'll place it before you. And now let's get to this very special story I prepared for you today. Yeah, but first of all, before we dive into that super cool story, let's relax a bit. Let's make our brain nice and smooth. After a hard day, you don't want to have your brain ugly and wrinkled. You don't want to have your brain ugly and wrinkled, so we have this little black cat. And I'll help you smooth your brain. So just relax for a moment. If you'd like, you can close your eyes and follow the sound, like someone is scratching your head. I find this really pleasant. I may or may not sometimes scratch my head with this little black cat toy. Alright, I think you're ready. And now the reason because I wanted to share this story with you, because it's really inspiring and I want you to be inspired. I know, like, when we get older, these holidays, celebrations sometimes mean less and less to us. Like, not always, not everyone may feel really this Christmas spirit or this New Year celebration fever. But a new year is a good chance to give yourself a new chance for whatever you wanted to achieve. And if you think you can't make it, here is the story of how to do it even if you don't believe in yourself, okay? Because that's not an issue, that should not stop you. You should believe in yourself. So this will be a base story. not really good at all. Not like those super cool guys that can turn any melody into really awesome slap action in really fast metronome. But still, once upon a time, I didn't really know who is bassist. Like when I watched music videos, there was a few dudes. One of them had maybe a little bigger guitar with a fewer strings, but I did not pay any attention to that. Now I thought, okay, maybe that's another musician, I don't know, whatever. But many years ago, a friend of mine just came to me, and he was also a drummer. He played in the metal bands. And he said to me, like, oh, I was invited to a really cool band. We play industrial metal, and we still don't have a bassist. But once we find a bass player, we'll be ready for live gigs. Like, everything is prepared. We already have the songs. And I like industrial metal. So I asked him to play me some of their songs, like show me the records. And he sent me these songs, and they were amazing. The tunes were really catchy, and they were really like, they had these dance rhythms, like dance metal, like Rammstein maybe, something like that. And I was amazed, and I thought to myself, I need to be part of this. No matter what, I need to be part of this. So I asked him, well, who's bassist anyway? Like, I'm asking for a friend. And he said, no, well, it's a guy who plays bass, the thing that looks like a guitar but actually is a bass. And I was like, okay, thank you. I understood you. Thank you. And that very same day, I went to the local flea market, like, online marketplace, and bought the cheapest used bass I could find. And by pure miracle, it was working and it sounded okay. So, like, I found some YouTube tutorials, maybe played a few days, and contacted the musicians and said, like, I want to try myself. I want to try for a bass player in your band. They sent me the tabs. So I practiced for a few days. I didn't know anything about music, and like, it was my first time ever playing an instrument. So maybe for 2 days I've practiced, and then I came to the rehearsal with my new shiny bass. And I said that I'm a bassist. My mother was a bassist, and her mother too. And since industrial metal is not the most complicated in terms of bass lines, at least in that band. So I played a few songs, and either everyone was just too drunk to notice, or maybe I wasn't doing that bad, but they said, okay, you look like a solid bassist, you're accepted. And so I started visiting their rehearsals. I don't know, I think maybe they noticed that I am imposter. But still, nobody said anything. And in a few months, we had a live gig at the local club. Since nobody knew about our band, we weren't even paid for the gig. So, like, when we arrived, the gig was delaying you know, that's okay when there's a little delay, but due to some band who were, I believe, headliners, and we were just like warm up, and those headliner guys were late for 3 hours. And here's the tricky part: our vocals guy, our singer, he's like, you know, likes to drink. He had an issues and probably has them still, I know. So we agreed with everyone in the band that we'll keep an eye on him so he won't get drunk before the gig. But since there was 3 hours like before the start, we did our best, but he got so drunk that he could barely stand and talk, not to mention singing. Can you imagine that? But anyway, this was our time to shine. So we went on stage. The club manager was a real asshole, didn't give us enough time even to prepare everything, only gave us like about 10 minutes for line check, and that's all. And of those 10 minutes, like 5 minutes, I was unpacking and connecting my lovely, beautiful bass. And we started playing. And while the music was fine and crowd seemed to be enjoying it, the people were dancing, but our lead singer was getting worse and worse. And he wasn't just singing awfully. At some moment he couldn't stand anymore. So he like fell on his knees. And then after a few minutes he like fell on the ground and continued to singing in that prone position. But everyone thought that this is kinda part of a performance. I thought to myself, this is a total failure. We'll never be allowed to this club ever again. And everyone in the band was like looking at each other with this, you know, weird expression. And while we thought that this was peak of a disaster, it wasn't. When our singer couldn't even sing anymore, he just started, you know, just yelling and moaning and grumbling in the microphone. But the crowd was still enjoying it for some reason. But then at the end, I guess it was last song, he managed to stand, and of course this wasn't meaning anything good, because he stood up straight only to start swearing and cursing the crowd. And he was saying bad words. He was screaming in the mic like, "Dance, you." And what's mind-blowing, everyone thought this was a part of a performance. So like some girls got on the stage and began to dance with us, and everyone was dancing, and people thought that it was designed like that. It was planned. Yeah, and after that I thought, wow, I was on fire. This was such a cool gig, my first gig. I was so great. And when I looked at the record, it was a total failure. I failed miserably. I was standing on the stage, clenching to my bass. Like totally, I thought I was dancing and moving, but in fact I was barely swinging from side to side. But some people, after the gig, some people ran to me and said, "Wow, you're such a solid bass player," and shoved something in my pocket. And when later I checked my pocket, there was a candy and a coin of 1 hryvnia. Yeah, so I guess I got paid for that gig after all. Well, eventually our band fell apart, and what's weird after that, probably nobody still noticed that I'm an imposter. So after that, I played in a few other bands. Like, people approached me and said, "Hey, you look like a pretty cool bass player, wanna join our band?" I was like, "Are you blind or deaf? Or I don't know." But of course I agreed, and I had a really good time. I don't play bass in the bands, especially at the moment, and I never succeeded to be like a bassist I'll be really proud of. But why did I tell you this story? Because whether or not you believe in yourself or you think you can do something cool, I believe that you can do it. And where do this get us in 2024? If you want to try something new, if there's something on your mind, if you wanted to try something new, if you wanted to learn a new skill, if you wanted to start a new hobby, if you want to own a pet, if you want to approach a girl or a boy you like, or a man or a woman, or whatever other gender person you like, if you wanna find a job of your dream, or anything else, like you want to be someone, from the smallest things to the biggest and most ambitious plans, I dare you to do it. Yeah, just when you do it, if you ever feel unconfident in yourself, well, you have to tell that voice of inconfidence in your head to shut up, because you can do it. And if you will make that professional face, that there's like 99% chance that no one else around you will also notice that you're not a professional. So everything will be just fine. Alright. And I really wish you a happy new year. I hope you celebrated Christmas the way you wanted. Yeah, I missed the chance to greet you with this holiday, but still, I wish you all the best. I believe in you guys. I was so glad to see you tonight, and we'll meet in 2024.